What do you think some of the biggest misconceptions about wills, estates, and burials?
They're not educated on it. More white people know about it, most of the ones that has money.
Who is legally responsible for handling a loved one's burial?
That's a tricky question. It was the active shooter at Valdosta High, and my daughter was there. This is when I actually cried for my sisters.
Come on, salute my grand. I'm standing on principle. I'm standing on business. That check on the way, and I'ma go get it.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Salute My Creed. This is a platform where you can speak about your religion, your belief, and the principle you stand on that bring you everyday success. I have a special guest today. It's an author that wrote a book called The Things I Thought I Knew Preparing After Their Demise. Today I have Miss Patrianne Willis. She wrote a book about the things that you need to know after you're losing a loved one that'll help you with the process. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about you, sir?
I'm doing good. The first question I got for you, can you share a little about yourself and what inspired you to write this book? Or write your book, because this is yours.
I'm a mother of 3, grandparent, have grandkids. I love to cook, love to bake, write another book, love to crochet, and love to cross stitch.
So why do you think it's so important for people to share these conversations about preparing in case if they lose someone?
I learned over the years that people only talk about death when it happened.
Mm.
If you get it in order before they pass, they'll be aware and how to plan a funeral or how to take care of the loved one and carry out their last wishes. But most people don't talk about it till it actually happened.
Right. I think a lot of us are victim of that. I think it'd be tough conversations you don't want to face, but in the back of your mind, you know it's going to happen one day, but just don't want to face it up front.
But if you talk about it now, you'll know how to handle it. Then you won't be asking questions, for example, what's their favorite color? How do they want to be buried? Do they want to be cremated?
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, I don't have a favorite color, so it'll be hard. So, I don't have a favorite color or anything. But the ones that has a favorite color, you don't have to worry about the songs, pictures, and all of that. So if you talk about it now and let them know, this is how I want, if I go before you, this is how I want my prepare and carry out their last wishes.
Right, make a whole lot of sense.
And then if they have kids too, this is who I want my kids to go to. But you don't think about that to the last minute. Okay, she don't pay, she got kids, who gonna get the kids? Then you gotta be honest, sometimes family members fight over it because they're looking at, I can get the kids for money.
Mm. Yeah.
So half the time, some people just come just to see what they could get out of it. Mm-hmm. It's not because they love the person, it's just because of what they could get.
Yeah.
And then family member falls out behind this once they pass because she said I could get this, he said I could get that, but nobody knows.
So what was the turning point that made you write this book?
The reason why I wrote this book for 2 reasons. I lost 2 sisters. Well, you could say 3. I also helped a lot of people plan their funeral. And I had so many people telling me, you need to write a book about it. You need to write a book about it. And I kept saying, no, I'll pray about it. And what really made me do it is because of my oldest son, Auntie passed. And her husband, Auntie, I have never met, said, God told me to tell you, you need to write a book about this. Okay, I pray about it. She said, God said you was going to say that, write a book. Mm-hmm. So, for me not knowing that later, I know that was my sign that I need to go on and do it. But it was been told to me ever since 2017, I need to write a book.
So for you, what like being able to be so strong to be able to do that, because it's a lot of people are not able to take that on and be strong enough to handle that type of thing.
Well, that's a good question and a good answer. Everybody's not made strong. But as in life, what don't break you make you stronger. Mm. But I'm in the family as the most of the time to go to person. Can you handle this? Because I love digging into stuff. I love handling about law enforcement. I get to the nitty gritty. My family still tell me you need to be a lawyer. You need to be a private investor because I get to it. But most about it is I love helping people. And I wouldn't trade in nothing of what I do now. And God put it on my heart. That's what I do.
Right. And that's one of the things about being a servant leader, helping others and making a difference.
I do so much for people. Like my daughter in college now. Thank God. But ever since my 3 kids was in school, I worked it and plus volunteer at the schoolhouse because I need to know what was going on. You're not mistreating my kids. Because if you're not out there, you don't know what they're doing to your kids.
Being involved.
So I was involved. My daughter's in college and I'm still involved. I have 2 grown sons and I'm still involved. So you have to just be there.
Yeah. So, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions people have about wills, estates, and burials?
They're not educated on it. As for our race, we're not educated on it. I wish they'll teach it in school. More white people know about it, most of the ones that has money. But the only way we find out if we get a lawyer and we have to pay them. But you don't want to, our community and people don't want to talk about a will because they think somebody finna die or what's going on or what you want or you trying to kill me. But the thing about it is you getting your affairs in order. We need a will because if a will's not in place and you pass, the state could come get it. Then if you don't want the state, you got to do a probate. They don't teach you that about the probate. They don't teach you about a will. They don't teach you about burying stuff. So that's all stuff that we have to learn.
Can you break down the importance of having that will and what happens if someone passes without one?
What's most important about a will is two. You could say it's two. If you got kids that's under age 18 and you pass, you got to worry about who's going to get your kids. That will being in place, you let them know who your child going to. Like, for example, I let my mom know if I pass before my daughter turned 18, by me losing 2 sisters, she won't have to get my daughter. Her dad's going to take care of her, taking that burden off of her. So I already have me a will that anything happened to me before my daughter, my boys know what they get, what they don't get.
Right.
And my daughter father does too. My boys know that they don't get none of the money collection that belongs to my daughter because they don't got their money collection. So they know what they get all the way down to the picture frames.
Right.
But without the will, if you don't have a will, a person could come in and say, hey, this she said I'm gonna get this. He said I could get this. But if you don't have any proof, that's when that probate come in. And then on top of it, if you don't have a will or either a beneficiary, for example, if you have a bank account, if you don't have a beneficiary on there, the state get your money. Unless you have a child over the age of 18, do a probate and get that money. But if they don't do that and not educating on it, all that money you have worked for that you saving up for your kids, state got it. So you think they finna educate us on that for that they keep that money?
Nah, they're not.
And then even if you own a house, they're not gonna educate you because that's more for them. So long as I'm trying to get the word out to educate people, it's up to them to take the knowledge or don't take it. But at least it's out there. But they could pay for $200 shoes, but won't pay $14.99 for a book for education.
Mm-hmm. That's something real big you just said. Then that'll go on a lot. Just searching and knowing knowledge, and more people is on about the look and enjoyment of life rather than knowing what can help elevate them to the next level or make them informative on what's going on around and that's be able to help them.
Because you got to look at it. Most people, when they pass, that the ones have money, they still side up for their kids and their grandkids. But the ones that don't know, they lost. So by me trying to educate our race, hey, this is what we need to get in place for our kids. You don't work hard all your life, and when you pass, what you got? You got bills. Your kids got your bills, your debts to take care of. But they didn't make those debts.
Right. Yep. And they
So
just
you leaving debts to your kids, and that's more pressure on them. Then you got to worry. Your kids got to worry about what something happened to daddy? Where I'm going. What something happened to mama? Where I'm going. Why not sit down and talk to your kids? hey, if anything happened to me, this is where you going. And let that person know,
Mhm.
hey, anything happened to me, my child coming to you.
Yeah. Have everything organized.
You have everything organized. Most people, when before they get dressed the next day, they get their clothes out organized. Why not do the same thing for your loved ones?
Okay, well, just cut that out. But how do probate work, and what are the steps a family needs to take if there isn't one in place to get one?
Okay, how probate work is if they don't have one, whatever they own. Say for example, if I die without a will in place, I have land, my car, a house, and stuff. If my loved one want it, they got to do a probate. If I have money in the bank and does not have a beneficiary on my bank account, you got to do a probate on that too. So how that probate falls in place, if you're married, it falls on the husband. If you're not married, it falls on your firstborn that's in the right mind, state of mind. Not autistic, disability, and they have to have their own place and stuff. They have to be able to take care of themselves. That's how that probate. So if I own farm, land, whatever, and I pass today, I don't have a will in place, which I do, it falls on Bobby. But if Bobby go, it falls on my oldest son. And then if he leave, it goes on down to the next one. But if all my kids are gone and then I pass, it could fall on one of my family members who want to take responsibility. For example, my last sister that was murdered. When I made the phone calls at my mom's house, she had land up there in Atlanta. I called RS, hey, she's paid. They like, you could pay for it and it's your land. Just send us the ID. I say, nope, I don't want the drama. So I let it go. And it was little enough chick chain, less than 5,000. I didn't want the hassle.
Right.
Because I would have had to have all the deeds and stuff turned over to me.
Yeah.
So a will is very, very important. You you don't have to go pay a lawyer. They think you have to pay a lawyer. You don't. I didn't pay no lawyer. I type my own will up and I have my son, my daughter, Bobby, which is my husband, and my niece. And it falls in place. I sign it, had it notarized. It's locked up in my safe.
Mm.
So they can't say, well, hey, she don't have nothing in place. I have it all the way down to who get my equinox.
Gotcha.
So it's very important. But if you don't have a will, that's when that probate come in. And it can be tricky. And they will try and get over on you. For example, my son's father passed, my youngest son. His brothers now still call me mama. When he passed last year, this year in June, make a whole year. His son came to me. He said, Mama, I need help. Told me how much money his father have in the bank. Their father have in the bank. He said, but they say I got to do a probate. I say, yes, because it's just that much. He said, what I need to do. And I told him. Called me back. He said, Mom, you know your stuff.
Right.
So I said, okay. And he like, I told him, I said, that big amounts, don't leave that bank with that big check. Because number one, you black. You're a male. What you do, go back up there, open up your bank account, because they just gave you that check. Because they're going to start questioning you where you get that money from. And they're going to put that big money on hold to investigate that. So instead of you leaving that bank with that check, go and open up your bank account right there with your daddy money. Because they cut the check out to you.
Awesome.
Because when their daddy died, he was not married. So it fell on the firstborn.
Mm. All right. So the next, who is legally responsible for handling a loved one's burial and funeral expenses if nothing is set up?
By law,
Hmm.
that's a tricky question. All depends on. So what I would do, which is in the book, I'm going to break it down to
Hmm.
you, which is in the book. So for example, a loved one passed. Say I passed first, but my husband's still here. That means he takes care of my responsibility if I don't have a will in place. By law, it falls on him. But if I was not married, it falls on my firstborn, which is my son.
Hmm.
But if my son, my firstborn, was autistic, ADD, ADHD, it does not fall on him. It falls on the second one. But then it gets tricky again. Say both of my parents passed, and then I pass. Not married, no kids. Who you think it falls on?
It goes to your brother or sister?
It go to the first sibling
I got you.
that's in the right mind. So, like I say, it's tricky because you got to look at it. Well, both your parents passed, and you don't have no kids or anything. Who it falls on? But they don't talk about it. They don't educate you on it. So I break it down in my book from to who it falls on as Mr. and Mrs. If the first husband passed or if the wife, if they get remarried, I break it all the way down to the siblings who it falls down on.
Hmm. So the first step someone should take after losing a loved one, um, should they look for like the insurance, deeds, bank accounts, and what other important documents?
They should, but that's why I say it's very important to
Mhm.
talk to your family member to let them know, hey, if I pass, this is where everything is. And see, that's my second book I'm working on, that you'll be able to put all that information in. That if a loved one passed all the way down, because you got to look at it from both of my sisters that was murdered. And then I don't help so many other people with their funerals and stuff. They got so many passwords to this account, Facebook, Netflix, all that, they bank account, their credit cards and stuff. But they don't share that with nobody. So that means you got to find out all that information, and it's hard. It was hard for me, but I did it. And when I get frustrated, I shut everything down, pray about it, Lord God. I come back to it. And then once I pray about it and everything starts falling back in place. So it's very important that you sit down with your loved one and say, hey, if I pass, this is what's in the bank. This is who name on there. This is where this is at. This is where the life insurance is. I don't have life insurance. This is where everything is. You can go to Walmart on Amazon and buy a fireproof safe and put everything in. You ain't gotta let nobody know where it's at in your house because I have a safe and it's fireproof. But all my important papers and stuff are in there. So my kids know where everything is. So it's very important that people talk about it, but they don't want to talk about it. And then when it happened, you stuck. Then they don't have life insurance and they like, well, we need to do a GoFundMe.
Mm, yeah. Mm.
We need to do a fish fry and stuff. So why not go on and talk about it now? Instead of, well, did they tell you this? Did they tell you that? Like, for example, my sister, my last sister, all we knew she had life insurance, but she never told us with who. So we had to go. I went through all the paperwork. My mama brought them to me. Mama, here's some life insurance. But it's going through boxes and boxes and boxes. So if you don't let somebody, let at least one person know. And once that person passed before you, let somebody else know. But see, that's the biggest problem. Some people pass, and then like for a beneficial, every time if somebody passed that's so beneficial, update it, update it. But they don't. That's how a lot of people claim lost money.
Because the person that was the beneficiary, they gone too.
Yes. So it's a family member that's claiming that lost money.
Yeah.
So if you have life insurance, the person that you have as a beneficiary, don't pass. I know you're grieving by the month too. Change another beneficiary as somebody else. Just put that person aside. Hey, the other person I have as a beneficiary is no longer here. I would like for you to, and just let them know your steps. This is what I want.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot right now speaking to you. I know I read your book and I learned some things too, but it's very helpful. Very helpful.
Well,
Things.
I'm trying my best to educate a lot of people. And my step now is transferring that book to Spanish so it get to Spanish people too. Because one of the programs in Puerto Rico and Mexico and stuff, and they speak different language. So how can I tell them about the book for them to get the help if I don't translate it to their language?
Right. My next question: what are some affordable resources available to help people navigate the process, especially for those without insurance or savings?
Google.
Google.
You'll be amazed how much you could Google on Google and stuff. But with the life insurance and stuff,
Mhm.
this is me personally. I'm not speaking for nobody else. I'm not judging nobody else. I feel like if you could go buy a $200 Apple phone, watch, shoes, and stuff, there's nothing wrong with you physically, mental that you can't get life insurance. Why not pay $25, $30 a month for life insurance?
Mhm.
You walking around with a $200 Apple phone.
Right.
You walk around with Jordan. So if you could afford it for the Jonesy, why not for what you need for your health to make it easy on your loved one? So if you can get life insurance, do your loved one a favor. They ain't got to ask nobody for no help. Like I say, me personally, I can't get it due to my medical problem. But if they have medical problems and can't get it, that's when the science lab come in to have your body donated.
Mm. Uh, So so you're saying, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. So you're saying if you have medical issues and you can't get insurance, so if that person passed, you can go to the science lab and they'll help with your body as far as payment wise because experimenting on it.
Yes. Well, what stop a lot of people from getting life insurance is a lot of them want to do medical check physical. They ask you a whole lot of questions. Cancer, have you had cancer? Yes, I had cancer. So can't get it. Do you smoke? No, I don't smoke. Do you drink? Perfect example. We got life insurance on my daughter. Me and my husband got life insurance on our daughter. Even though we're the beneficial, we had somebody else put on there. But only that person know who's the beneficial. But they asked us a lot of questions. And at the time, she was 17. But then they had to call her and ask her the same question without us. Do she smoke? Do she do illegal drugs and stuff like that? Do you have cancer? Only thing that she told them, I had asthma, but she was qualified for it. But if you does have cancer and stuff, a lot of them don't want to take you with health issues.
Mm.
So I don't think that's fair for the ones that has health issue that we can't get life insurance. But we're high risk though.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I think about all the time. It's like definitely got to have insurance because if I can't give it to my kids while I'm here, so when I leave, let me count for something. And then at the same time, I went through the same thing with my mom. Like, I could never get insurance on her because she went through breast cancer, and then they asked for all these documents back to back. They need this and need that, and at the end of the day, they're gonna deny it
Yeah.
anyway. Mm.
And so like, a lot of people, especially I had a friend that she passed in her sleep. I loved her to death and her kids. But her and her husband was the one that actually told me about the science lab that's in my book. And he donated her body there, which they had life insurance. He's military, white, life insurance. I knew how much their policy was, and I didn't live in their household. That's how much they trusted me. That I knew how much husband don't was, the kids don't, and no wife.
Right.
But when she passed, they didn't pay nothing. Science lab came and got her body. They did a little wait at the church and kept it moving.
That was
And
it.
I was there. They didn't do no fish fry like we do. They didn't do no barbecue, no nothing. And I'm like, wow, y'all totally different.
Yeah. It
But
is.
her kids, their kids has still to the side over $100,000 life insurance that they didn't touch because they said it's for the kids when both parents pass. So why we can't do the same thing?
Yeah. Bit different in that culture, some would say.
And see, even the military would pay for her funeral, but they wanted to donate the body. Even when the husband passed, he go to the science lab, even though he's still in the military. So he's still saving Uncle Sam money.
Mhm.
So I feel like everybody just need to do better
Yeah.
because it's not that expensive for life insurance. Our daughter life insurance is not even $30 a month.
Mhm.
And once she hit 21, she takes over the payment. We have it till she turned 21.
Gotcha.
Not when she turned 18, 19, when she turned 21.
Right.
So why we can't do the same thing to make sure it's easy? Like her father has life insurance on him. I'm the only one because of my medical condition. But anything happened to him, I have everything, his password, everything, all the way down to his job information that if he passed before me, I call up his job. Hey, Mr. Wisdo passed and here go his ID number, 401. I get I know I get the 401, share it with her. His job pays so much for life insurance that they don't take out his paycheck. I call, they cut that check to me and everything.
Mhm.
So I just feel like if you could buy $200 shoes, you could pay $45 for life insurance a month
Oh yeah.
if you able to get it.
Yeah. So the next question, what would be your advice on how to navigate the tough conversations when you're talking about estate planning and when you're losing a loved one? Because you stated before that one thing, especially in our culture, is not brung up. We don't speak about it enough. How do you ease that conversation where you make people comfortable talking about? Because I know a lot. I don't seen people that like, no, I don't want to talk about that right now, or you know, and is not going to talk about it.
Well, this is what I tell a lot of people, and I always tell them if I hurt your feelings, I apologize because I never wants to hurt your feelings or come off at the bad way. But you got to look at it and think about it. At the end of the day, we're gonna die. We don't know when, we don't know how, what time, and our sleep what. But at the end of the day, we all got to be buried. Who's gonna bury you? You running back and forth to the doctor. You telling the doctor this, telling the doctor that. Why not tell your loved ones? Why not tell your family? So my best suggestion is like a how I handle my boys. And that was a good question. You said it because my boys don't like talking about it, especially my middle one. My middle boy, he don't like talking about it. So like I tell him, you're gonna sit here and respect your mama and listen to me because this is what you need to know. So he'll sit there, but mama, I don't want to. But you're gonna listen to it, and I let him know this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. You don't have no life insurance on you. So guess what? And I tell my what I'm finna tell you, I tell my kids this. You don't have life insurance on you, I'm gonna go best way, cremate you. And I'm gonna ask them, can I set you on fire to make it cheaper on me?
Gotcha.
And because so that's gonna make them realize, okay, you really set me on fire. Well, you need to get some insurance. So somebody got to start somewhere.
Right.
And so it's gonna be the day or tomorrow. But if you put it up to tomorrow, you may be dead. Look how many people getting killed. And then you're gonna think about I should have. What if I should have, would have, could have? It's too late. I should have had that conversation with them. It's too late now.
Mhm.
So I feel like everybody needs to sit down and talk about we're gonna die. When you go, if you go before me, how do you want to go? What you want to be buried in? You want to be buried in your Jordans? What? Suit? Pants sagging? What? Because you see all them sagging. So
Yeah.
give them their last wish. That's what it's about. So we all need to sit down and talk about, even with the younger kids, because you see the younger kids going.
Yeah, it's happening a lot lately.
So why not give the younger kids a voice? Hey, if you die before I do, how do you want me to take care of your last one? Give them that last respect. I don't care if your child 5 years old. Talk to them about it because it start home. If you think about it, when your child start walking and crawling and stuff and learning their colors, what you do? Go get that red cup. Go get that pink cup. So you got to start somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay. How can families work together to avoid conflict over possessions after losing a loved one? Because that's a big situation at times.
It is a big
Yeah, so,
situation.
so many people feel obligated to certain things or entitled.
Well, me personally, this is how I would look at it. Like with both of my sisters that was murdered, I didn't get nothing because I didn't want nothing.
Mhm.
And the only thing I got was to handle their finances, make the phone calls and stuff. That's all I got. I didn't have a problem doing it. Would I do it again? Yes, I'll do it again. Hesitate? No, no. I'll do it all over. But further, you're gonna have people don't at the bottom line, you're gonna have some people just there for what they could get. And then they're gonna talk about you. Then they're gonna be like, hey, she said I could get that, but me, if she wanted you to have it, she would have gave it to you. That's why that will come in place.
Yeah. And I was just fortunate with my brother and my sister. When my mom passed and we did the probate and all of that, they signed everything over, no problem, and no issue, no arguing. But everybody's not like that. All families are not that
No,
smooth.
everybody's not
Yeah.
like that. So sometimes they want to get a lawyer.
Mhm.
But once again, by law, it falls on the oldest. Like I was telling you about my middle son father that just died last year. He asked me a question. I said, well, did they help put in? He said, no, ma'am, mama. I said, now I always tell people, you don't have to be honest with me, be honest with yourself. Did they help put in? So why should you help get them certain when they didn't help take care of y'all daddy? Bury him, cremate him, whatever y'all done. Because it's not cheap.
Mhm. Right.
So you got to look at it when a loved one die, no life insurance, no will in place. If you took care of your mama stuff, that's all on you. You got to pay for the funeral, everything else. What did the other ones do? But they want to hold their hand out. So why hold your hand out when you didn't help? Is it fair to you though?
Mhm. Now that's definitely gonna be fair if someone in this situation.
So people gonna be mad regardless. But at the end of the day, long as you did what you did and you at peace, that's all that matters.
That's it.
Because you'll never make everybody happy. And you got to realize, for example, like your mama. Your mama dead, you say, well, people still probably talking about her. So while you alive or dead, they still gonna talk about you. So why try and make everybody happy? It's all about you and your peace. Because at the end of the day, they ain't laying with you. They ain't paying your bills and feeding you. And who helped pay for your mama stuff? That's something people have to think about.
Mhm.
And most of the time, they come to just see what they can get.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of situations like that. So, my next question is, how writing this book help you in the process of losing a loved one?
Well, it didn't help me
Okay.
because the simple fact, in 2000, I had already prepared myself for death because they gave me 6 months to live. Because that's when they found out I have a tumor on my brain, which I still have. So it really didn't help me. I'm just trying to help the next person. So I'm different from everybody. Like I tell people, I'm different from a different cloth. When somebody tell me this, hey, okay, that's what you say, but that ain't what God say. So every time I went back, you remember you gave me 6 months to live? Ha ha ha, I'm still here. It's been 25 years and I'm still here with the tumor on my brain. No surgery on my brain or nothing. But I'm still here. So I don't listen to man.
Mhm.
But everybody is different when it come down to grieving.
Mm. Yeah, that's very true.
Cause when I finally cried for my sisters, is when they said it was the active shooter at Valdosta High and my daughter was there. This is when I actually cried for my sisters because my daughter was in the line. So from 2017 to 2020, didn't cry because I'm trying to be strong for everybody else. That's a tough place to be when you're being strong for this person, the co-worker, the fiance, and trying to be strong for your mom and your sister and nieces and nephew, but what about me?
Mhm.
So it's only one person asks me from time to time, how you holding up? And that's one person. Because I really haven't had time to grieve. Because I'm trying to stay strong for everybody else.
Gotcha. So, words of encouragement would you give to someone who is struggling to face the reality of planning for death?
The best thing I could tell them is pray and trust in God. That's the best thing. Because He's not going to let you fall. He's going to always be there.
Mm,
And
definitely.
if you have somebody to be there for you to help support you, have that support. Because they're gonna be up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning doing this and doing that because I was. Even when somebody called me to help with a funeral, I'm up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning helping them. I even take my time to print out a obituary. This is how you have to do this. This is the step, who you want. And they'll tell me, I want this person, that person, and then they take it to the funeral home person.
Mm,
So that's how I act that I'm in with a lot of my family members and friends.
okay. So, what's the biggest lesson you learned while writing your book?
The biggest lesson I learned
Mhm.
is everything we think we know, we don't know. Because you learn something every day.
Mhm.
But they won't tell you. And then I learned that when you telling them this is what told to me by a judge, then you get quiet. Because they're looking at you like you don't know what you're talking about. That's the biggest thing that really bothered me. Because they looking at me like I'm black and I'm not educated. But then, well, how you find that out? A judge. Well, which judge? I won't tell you his name, but by law, this is what you have to do.
Mhm. So, is there anything in your book that we haven't spoke on that you want people to know? That you want?
It's a couple things in everything. Like, for example, the science lab.
Mhm.
I recommend highly when you talk to your loved one about a will, death, anything, talk to them about donate your organs to the science lab. Donate your organ. And the reason why I say that is because last year, February 13th, I had to have surgery. I never thought I would have to have a donor put in my leg. And I have a donor tendons inside. So when people say you have an animal or a person, when they put the animal, it's because people's not donating their organs. But I actually have a person.
I didn't know they did animals.
I
I got to do my research.
They does.
Mhm.
They really
Right.
do. And so I actually has the card of the person, but not their name and stuff. And it came from Temple, Florida. And I wrote the family back, son of one of my book, and let them know that, hey, I have your loved one tendons with the number, and they give you the number and everything.
Wow.
And so anytime I have a surgery now, I have to
Mhm.
let them know I have a donor inside of me.
Mm. You-
But I really think that people do need to talk about donate your organs when they pass.
Okay. You think by getting that card and being able to write them and stuff, is that like a connection that you feel like where you got something from someone that helped you out, that did it, that made you better?
I think so, but I also the reason why I did to let them know that even though your loved one donate they, cause you gotta look at it. If you donate yours and your parents and your children know that you donated, they're gonna wonder. I wonder if somebody else used my daddy organ. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody have not contact me, so I guess nobody not because even though that I found out last year, when you donate your organ, it's not just sitting there years and years and years. They expires.
Mm. I didn't know that neither.
And so once it expired, they can't use it. So I caught mine just in time before it expired. So it has to expire. They like milk and stuff. So my best thing is to talk to them about, hey, when you pass, donate your heart to somebody. You never know who might need your heart, who may need your liver, your lung and stuff. Just all the way down to attendance. I never thought I would need somebody organ, all the way down to attendance to put in my knee. But I have one to save my leg and my knee because it was completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to have a tendon, and I have a donor. But I thank God for it.
Right.
Even though I still wake up in pain, I thank God for it. And then also in my book is on in there that the ones that don't have life insurance. Say for example, you have a neighbor, and your neighbor got some bad behind children, and they in the gangs and stuff. And the neighbor's son gets shot, get killed with no life insurance. All these people that doing GoFundMe, they don't have to do that. Matter of fact, the young lady husband that got killed last year, a hit and run on Madison Heights, I reached out to her and told her I wrote a book that she didn't have to do no GoFundMe. I'm willing to give it to you for free. I'll bring it to you. Never reached out back to me. Let her know it's copyright. I can show you everything. It's not a scam. But it's programmed in that book that will help if your loved one is murdered without life insurance. You can't have life insurance and use the program. You can't, you have to have no life. It's not just Georgia, it's Florida, Alabama, Washington, D.C. When I said I did my research, I did it. But before I put it in the book, I contact everybody. I contact the science lab and the programs and asked, can I put in the book? And they was the one told me yes, but this is what you put in there. So with the program, it's a lot of benefits that I couldn't put in there because they, how the young lady said, we don't want you to put that information that then because everybody's just gonna be blowing up our phone. Then they're not gonna get no life insurance. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what's neat if I get life insurance and this program pay for it? But the catch is you have to be murdered.
Right.
Like a hit and run,
Yeah.
domestic violence, a shooting. Any way you was murdered, killed, that program will help you. Even in Texas, Washington, D.C., you just have to get the book.
Right. And
It breaks it down. My book breaks it down all the way down to how to plan your funeral.
you also have the different agencies in there that you can reach out to.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the ones that will help for the program for if you was murdered, your loved one was murdered.
Mhm.
All the way down to Mexico and Puerto Rico and Hawaii. That's how much I did my research.
Okay.
And then a lot of people feel like when a loved one passed, we obligated to pay their bills. That's what the bill people tell you. I'm going to tell you what the judge told me. How can you get money from a dead person? No offense.
Ain't no way.
Is your name on that water bill?
Mhm. Nope.
But the dead person name on there.
Mm-hmm.
So why pay for a dead person bill that you didn't make?
Mm-hmm.
Is your name on that bill for the hospital that the person died in the hospital? But guess what? They come after the loved ones because we don't know and we are grieving. That's another reason why I wrote the book to educate them. Because while you grieving, well, I'm going to go and pay this, but you didn't make that bill. Well, that's my mama, but you didn't make that bill. As long as you keep paying their bills, you're going to be in debt and more debt and more debt. And you won't be able to take care of you and your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But the book is amazing. It's paperback, ebook, and audiobook.
Yeah. So, if there is one thing you want the readers to take away from this book, what would it be?
What will it be? To get their life in order, their affairs in order. Not just for them, but for their loved one. Because you got to look at it. What people don't realize, and I always tell my kids and stuff and other people that's close to me, what you do today, it does not just affect you. It affects your son, your daughter, your sister, your brother. So if you go out there murdering somebody, it affects everybody that you hang around, your family member. That's the same thing as with your life insurance and stuff. It when a loved one passes, it does not just affect you because you dead. What about your mama? What about your sister? What about your homeboys and homegirls you hang out with? It affects everybody. So why put that burden on your mama, your sister, your wife, your husband, your children? Make it easy that when you pass, nobody ain't got to take care of your responsibility
Mm-hmm.
because we all have to die. We don't know when.
Right.
So why not make it easy on the loved one? Because you got to look at it. Some people rent $1,000. Think about the rent, the light bill, the water bill, your car insurance. So if you got to pay your car insurance, why not get life insurance? Because like with my daughter life insurance, it's connected to our car insurance. So you go and get life insurance where you paying your car. When you pay your car insurance, you already paying the life insurance. And that's what we do. When we pay our car insurance, we automatically paying our daughter life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So why you paying all these other bills? Why not make that a habit too? Because you're going to eat.
Yeah.
You're going to pay your water bill because you need a base. You're going to pay your rent because you need a place to stay. So why not make that a habit?
Mm-hmm. Right. So, Miss Patriot, the last question I got, and I'm gonna get you out of here on this. How can people get a copy of your book, or get connected, for more guidance?
You can order it from Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can order off my website too. And then if you see me, I keep some in my car. If you see me, hey, can I get a book? Sure. And so my website is the title of my book.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the www. It's not www dot. It's the things that I thought I knew. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Creed family, this is what the book looked like right here. On the things I thought I knew, preparing after they're dismissed.
This
Demise. Which one? Which one you say, Auntie
I
Fresh?
say dismiss, but can y'all say dismiss?
All right, gotcha. All right,
So it's like I say, it's very educating and stuff. Cause like I didn't go read it because I don't want everybody to know about like the death certificate.
mm-hmm.
Death certificate take care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Long because it's proven that they did. But the most important thing too is once they pass, a lot of people don't know. Like for example, I don't know if you knew or if you did it. Did you close out your mama's social security number?
But I knew I could, but I didn't. Talking about to get that last check.
No, it's not to get the last check.
Mm-hmm.
It's to let them know that they, like for example, think about how they say they get so many when election come. Like they just did the election for Donald Trump and them voting and stuff. And they be like, that person dead.
Mm-hmm.
So how that person voted and they dead? I'm gonna tell you how. Because
Mm-hmm.
you didn't close out that social security number.
Gotcha.
And a lot of people don't know to close out that social security number once they die.
Mm-hmm.
And so your mom been gone for how long?
Probably like 3 years now.
And you ain't close out her social security number. So social security people think she's still alive.
Listen, the funeral home did it because I know I had to give it to them for them to do their thing, to do something. But I don't know, I'll check into it.
I was the one closed out both of my sister down.
Mm-hmm.
Even after we buried them, cremated them, I was the one.
Gotcha.
So best thing to tell people is to follow up and see did a funeral home close out the social security number.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because it's very important to do that because the simple fact, if you don't and somebody go get your mama name and social security number, they can still write her bill up and stuff. But if somebody try and use it in her name, that's a red flag. She's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to track who's trying to use it.
All right.
So that's how a lot of people get other people's social security number and stuff because they dead, but you're not turning it in. And that's how a lot of people use other people's social security number and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, got you on that.
But people don't think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the funeral home did. I remember I turned all that stuff in them for they do what they do. And when they got through, I was able to take it to the bank and do all that stuff. So I think that's how it went.
I double check, make sure.
All right, gotcha.
Come on. Salute. My grand, I'm standing on principle. I'm standing on business. Check on the way and I'ma go get it.